From Arlecchino's strongest team to Neuvillette's most optimized comps, there's one underrated unit quietly holding everything together: Citlali. At first glance, she might look like just another cryo shielder, but her true potential still hidden. With her first rerun arriving in version 5.8, it's time we ask the real question. Is Citlali actually the most future-proof support in the entire game? Let's start by talking builds, because this is where Citlali's flexibility really begins to show. When it comes to weapons, she has 3 strong options, and your choice depends heavily on the team she's in. If you're supporting an attack-scaling DPS like Arlecchino, TTDS is the go-to. It offers a massive ATK % buff with a simple swap. But if you're building her more for survivability and reaction-based play, especially in teams with not-lon units or needing bigger shields, elemental mastery weapons like sacrificial fragments can be great. These also help boost her melt and freeze synergy. Finally, if your team is desperate for energy recharge, Favonius Codex is a safe fallback. It keeps her burst uptime stable, especially when you're not running a full ER build. Now, let's move on to artifacts. And here, Citlali has some of the best synergy potential in the game. Her strongest option is without a doubt the Scroll of Cinder City, which provides a massive plus 40% damage bonus to your active DPS. This set alone can boost the total output of characters like Mavuika or Neuvillette to new heights. But in cases where another unit is already using Scroll, Gilded Dreams becomes your next best option. You'll typically run it with ER Sands, EM Goblet, and EM Circlet, especially if your team is built around freeze or melt reactions. Alternatively, Tenacity of the Millilith can also work if you're just looking to buff ATK without complicating your rotations. As for stats, your targets are pretty clear. Aim for 600 plus elemental mastery and 200 to 220% energy recharge. However, if you're running Scroll of Cinder City, the extra particles from her Nightsoul burst can reduce the ER requirements significantly. So generally, try to shift artifacts around. If another unit can run Gilded or Tenacity instead, give Citlali the Scroll. Not only does this solve her energy issues thanks to those bonus particles, but it also leads to much smoother team rotations since her off-field cryo application is entirely dependent on burst uptime. And that's exactly what makes her so reliable. Let's dive deeper into that cryo application, because it's not just a basic shield and skill setup. Citlali uses a unique mechanic called Nightsoul points. To keep applying cryo off-field, she needs to maintain at least 50 points active at all times. Here's how those points are generated. Her skill grants plus 24. Her burst gives another plus 24. Her passive grants plus 16 more when you trigger freeze or melt, and each Nightsoul burst trigger gives plus 4 more. That totals up to 68 points, which means if you're rotating her correctly, you'll stay above the threshold comfortably. So here's the basic rotation tip. Use her skill first, then burst, then swap to your main DPS. As long as you continue to trigger freeze or melt, she'll regenerate Nightsoul over time. But don't spam skills too fast, her Nightsoul drains slowly, so timing matters. Now let's talk about the passive that seems average on paper, but is absolutely broken in practice. Citlali shreds 20% Pyro and Hydro Res when she triggers freeze or melt. And yes, that sounds similar to Zhongli's Universal Shred or SVOCA's massive 55% Hydro or Cryo Res reduction. But the reason Citlali stands out isn't just about how much she shreds, it's about how much she does all at once. She provides consistent cryo application, 20% dual element res shred, a reliable shield, TTDS buff for attack scalers, compatibility with Scroll of Cinder City, and crucially, she's a cryo unit, which makes her compatible with SVOCA in full Hydro Cryo teams. That last part is incredibly important. SVOCA only functions properly in teams with full Hydro and Cryo units, and Citlali is currently the only flexible support who fits that restriction and holds Scroll without compromising the rotation. That's why she's seen in nearly every top team right now. Let's take a look at some examples. Mavuika needs cryo application, Pyro Shred, and ATK buffs, all of which Citlali provides. Arlecchino gets huge value from TTS and Scroll, plus cryo-based reaction triggers. Neuvillette benefits from the Hydro Res Shred, shielding, and massive team-wide buffs. And Skirk teams, where Scroll is mandatory, but you need to keep SVOCA's Hydro Cryo restriction intact, making Citlali her only viable Scroll support. Even Mualani, while strong, doesn't fully replace Citlali. She's a Hydro DPS first, and she only fills Citlali's role when no other Hydro Cryo Scroll user is available. Citlali remains the core enabler. And that's the real story. She isn't just a shielder, she's a meta anchor, capable of unlocking the full potential of nearly every current top-tier DPS without needing high investment herself. Now let's talk teams, because this is where Citlali absolutely breaks into the top-tier meta. She can be played in both melt and freeze setups, and those just happen to be the two strongest elemental reactions right now. Why? Because of the characters that trigger them. Mavuika, Arlecchino, Skirk, and Neuvillette. These are the current top 4 strongest DPS units in the game, and every single one of them has a team where Citlali plays a key role. Let's break it down. Melt teams. Both Mavuika and Arlecchino rely on Citlali to hit their maximum output. Melt is already the strongest reaction in the game in terms of raw multiplier scaling, and Citlali enables it with cryo application, pyro shred, and damage buffs all in one slot. If you're running D-Luke, Citlali is actually his perfect partner, letting him trigger Melt on nearly every hit. She even fits into D-Luke plunge setups, where she replaces Farina for stronger single-target damage through cryo application and pyro shred. And it doesn't stop with D-Luke. Almost every pyro DPS benefits from Citlali. Klee gains more consistent melt uptime, Yoimiya appreciates the shield and EM buffs, Hutayo gets enhanced reaction damage, and even Deha with enough setup sees noticeable improvements. You can also build full 4-star teams with her, like Shangling, Rosaria, Citlali, and Bennett. It's budget-friendly and incredibly powerful, thanks to how well she holds Scroll and buffs pyro units. Freeze teams. She's also incredible in freeze comps where she can pair with Farina, Yelan, or Xinkyu. In these setups, she provides Hydro Res Shred, TTDS buffs, and Scroll's 40% damage bonus, while still shielding and enabling cryo uptime for reaction triggers. This flexibility means one simple thing. If you have any of these DPS units, you need Citlali. She's present in nearly all top meta teams, and her versatility even outshines some Archons. Yes, you heard that right. Even Farina, widely considered the best support, doesn't have as many high-tier team placements as Citlali right now. And she's not just strong now, she's future-proof too. Characters like Columbina and Alice, both expected to be Hydro and Pyro respectively, will likely scale off the same synergy conditions that make Citlali so valuable. So if you're planning your future teams and wondering, is Citlali good with this new unit? Ask in the comments. I'll be replying to help out. That's it for today's breakdown. And if you haven't already, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on more advanced team breakdowns like this one. Also, we're currently holding a Welkin Moon giveaway. To enter, just comment your UID, your server, and tell me your opinion on Citlali. Do you think she's the best cryo support right now, or is there someone else you're using? Winners will be announced soon. And yes, I'll be replying to a few of your comments personally. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.